In this video we're going to be ripping off a game from one of my favourite YouTubers. What is up everybody and welcome to FORDY RUNS. My name is Chris Ford and I like running shoes, but I also like certain YouTube channels. Now the only other two YouTube channels apart from this one that you need to watch with regards to shoe reviews is the main man, Mr. Mike Kokafuzi, and the guys at Believe in the Run. Now Mr. Kofuzi, I have a slight man crush on. I'm happy to admit that, and I think he's slightly alarmed about how much I stalk him. But he's been kind enough and gracious enough to appear on our podcast, which was really great fun. Make sure you check that out. We actually filmed that live, so you can watch that back on YouTube. But he genuinely is somebody I look up to on YouTube. His content is amazing. His attitude is on point. The stuff he produces is just on another level, and yeah, he's just an all-round nice guy. And one of the things he was doing the other day that I picked up on, because he does a live stream not every day but most days when he's not traveling around the world, and one of the things he did, and it was with the guys from Believe in the Run, which again is my other favourite running YouTube channel, which you must subscribe to both of these channels by the way. But anyway, he did this game that he's been doing on his live streams, which is called underrated, or most underrated and most overrated running shoes. So I thought it'd be cool to basically completely steal and rip off his idea and do something similar. So I'm going to apologise now, Mr. Kofuzi. You know how much I love you. I apologise now for the next sort of 5-10 minutes of this video that I basically completely and utterly rip off your idea. So how this is going to work, I'm going to give you the most overrated shoes that I think are currently out there, which is going to be controversial. You know we love a bit of controversy on this FORDY RUNS channel. And then I'm going to give you the most underrated running shoes that I think are out there at the moment. Okay, so hold on to your hats, people, because we're going to do most overrated first, which is going to be, well, interesting. Okay, so the first and the most overrated thing that I think is currently out there, and I'm going to sort of expand it a little bit, is the racing shoes from On Running. Now I'm not going to go too mad on this because I'll get told off by admin, but I think that they're overhyped and they're overmarketed. I think that there's nothing particularly special. Now look, you're going to say, well, it's because they haven't sent them to you. Okay, but just take a little bit of pinch of salt with this, right? But there's nothing there, and this is my honest opinion, there's nothing there in those shoes that wants me to part with over £200 of my own money to buy them, which I think tells you everything. Now, I'm happy to pay for stuff. Spent £180 on a pair of Shocks headphones, spent over £200 on a new pair of Super Blast, okay? So it's not that I'm afraid to spend the money, but I need something to convince me to buy them. But when I see, like, you know, my contemporaries, which is great, love them all, getting these shoes and just hyping it up, it always concerns me. And that shoe and those shoes, for me, aren't really doing anything. So I think they're one of the most overrated shoes out there. Okay, next up, slightly toned down, but I think the Mac X from Hoka's a little bit overrated. There's nothing there, and hopefully you've seen the videos that we made on it. There's nothing there that sort of sets me alight. I think it's sort of stuck in no man's land. I think the Boston 12 is just the best super train in terms of feeling like a daily trainer, but can do some of the other stuff. And then you move to the other end of the spectrum where you've got like the SC Trainer 2, Magic Speed, and that sort of stuff, makes me 3. So it sort of sits in no man's land. I think it is sort of cut between a rock and what's the best word? Stuck between a rock and a hard place because it's using the Mac name. If it was called something different, I think they may have got away with it. Like, I don't know, not Rocket X, but like something along them lines. Right, next up, I think one of the most overrated shoes out there is probably the Magnify Nitro 2. The only reviews I've seen are people that have been gifted them, or like, I don't know, just loads of money or been spent on them to like do stuff with them. I just think it's a shoe that you don't need, and it's just pointless. If you want something that's a little bit more cushioned and that sort of stuff, I think, you know, there's plenty of good options out there. But yeah, the Magnify 2 really is not a shoe that I just think you need. It's a shoe that's, yeah, again, it's one of those that are a little bit overhyped. Okay, the next shoe that I think's overrated, but I'm going to say this in terms of like toned down, okay? So again, don't shoot me down in the comments, but I think the Adios 8 is overrated in the respect of I'm a bit confused where it belongs. So this could be ignorance on my part, right? So please do genuinely correct me, right? Because this is something I'm not talking from owning the shoe or having the shoe. I look at the Adidas range and I see the Takumi Sen 9, which I know you guys love, and I love the previous version, and I see the Adios 8, and I see too many similarities. I may be completely wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong on this one, okay? But I wanted to put it out there. More the fact that I just think 5K focus shoes are a little bit overrated, and I think the Adios 8 could be a good example, maybe, of that. Is that fair? Again, trying to tone it down, trying to be fair. I just think 5K running shoes, specific running shoes, Adios 8, I don't know, I just think they're a little bit overrated. Okay, you're probably not going to be surprised by this one, but basically any running shoes other than the Nike Vaporfly 3 or Alphafly 2 from Nike, I think they're all overrated. They're all heavy, they're all pretty useless, there's much better out there. I just think Nike running shoes in general, and that's not me hating on Nike, because I love the Vaporfly 3, Alphafly 2, okay, Alphafly 1 rocks. But yeah, I just think Nike running shoes are massively overhyped. So yeah, you don't need those, okay, so let's move on. Actually, we're going to finish with another brand. Oh, I'm going to get shot. And I suspect I'm never going to get anything from any of these brands, but I don't care. I've got to be honest, I've got to say how it is. And that's any sort of shoes from Under Armour. I just think they're just terrible things, the cheap ones. They're heavy, they're useless in terms of what they actually offer. There's so much better out there for the money, Under Armour. I think they're very probably good for like gym and things like that, I get that. But they're running shoes, like for example the Elite thing, over £200. And all I've seen from you guys is reports of it being firm. I don't see anybody, unless they're sort of an influencer and they've got a deal or they've got a collab with Under Armour running in them. I don't see like everyday runners wearing them on race day. Just don't see it. So I think the Under Armour shoes, and I hope that changes. I hope next year or the end of this year they bring some really cool stuff out. But at the moment, I just think Under Armour running shoes are really overrated. I actually think this could be one of my most controversial videos yet. I know this video is going to get a bit of a backlash, so I apologise to anybody who's upset. Again, people, it's only opinion, right? It doesn't matter, it's only on YouTube, so just relax before you go too further on me in the comments. Right, okay, let's turn a negative into a positive. The most underrated shoes that are currently out there. So for me, first shoe that I would say is the Reebok Energy Float Ride 5. I think that's a massively underrated shoe. Now you may say to all these shoes, no, it's not forward. It's like when I did that Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, it was like a shoe that not many people talk about. Some of you guys tell me, oh, everyone talks about it. But anyway, some of these shoes you may disagree with, but I just think as the first shoe, the Reebok Energy Float Ride 5 is an incredible shoe. You can pick it up for £44–45 here in the UK. They've increased the stack height in it with the foam. It's got a torsion system in it, so it's stable. It would do treadmill running, it would do park run, it would do a half marathon if you so wished. It can do everything. It's got a fantastic outsole on it, and I don't think many people necessarily talk about it, and I don't think it gets the kudos that it deserves. Next up, and I've actually got them here because I was wearing them the other day, and that's the Torin 7. I think ultra shoes in general are pretty cool, right? I put a runner of mine who I coach on a Tuesday into a pair. She absolutely loves them, and I really like this Torin 7. I just slip it on for those sort of 3 miles here, 3 miles there. It's just a great shoe, and I don't know, look, again, I might be wrong on this, but I just think this is a very underrated shoe. I really like it. I really do. It's just a great, easy shoe to stick on, go out the door and run. Right, the next shoe is actually a trail shoe. And I don't do a lot of trail running. We get a lot of trail shoes, but I don't do a lot of trail running. But one of the shoes that I really enjoyed, that I don't see getting much kudos, because everyone talks about, you know, the usual sort of trail brands. And that's the Brooks Catamount 2. I really like that shoe. It is firm, but it's fast, and you know, I can get away with it down the rivers and stuff, and then I can just plod along up on the fields, up into the forest and that lot. I can zip around there real quick, and it's just a great fun shoe. I really like it, and I'm not sure it gets the kudos it deserves. So again, big shout out to the Brooks Catamount 2. Right, next up, the Saucony Guide 16. I think it's a stability shoe. It's unbelievable. We can get 15 really cheap, which is basically the same shoe, but I think the Saucony Guide stability shoe needs a little bit more love. Yes, it's sort of old technology with like the hollow frame tech or whatever you call it posting in there, but it really does the basics well. It's relatively lightweight, it's relatively affordable. The new version with the upper on it's great, and I just think as a stability shoe it's fantastic. Right, next up is the New Balance Propel version 4. I think that is a really underrated shoe. I really do think that is one of the most underrated shoes out there. You can get it for under £100. You've got a plate in it, you've got fuel cell in it. You can do everything in that shoe. You could run that in a marathon if you wanted to. It really is a cracking shoe. And as I said, you can pick that up for under £100. It came out of nowhere, the New Balance Fuel Cell Propel version 4, and I really recommend you check it out. Right, we've got 3 shoes left. Right, and I've got to give a shout out, and you're going to moan, but I'm going to give a shout out to the Skechers Go Ride 11. Now, I'm giving it a shout out because it is a do-it-all shoe. It's not the best running shoe. It's not the sort of long run shoe or anything like that, but it is a shoe, right? You can go Tesco's in. We've done a video on it. You can go Tesco's in, and then you can do a run. You can drop the girls off at dancing, and you can go for a run. It's that sort of park run shoe if you're just going down there to plod around. It is underrated. Yes, it's not the most sexy thing in the world, but it really is just a really good sort of everyday shoe. Right, moving on, 2 left. Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2. Everybody loved it, but because of all these new super trainers, nobody talks about it. And when that shoe comes down in price, I think it is 100% the one to go for. It is a fantastic shoe. It's a fast shoe. It's a fantastic shoe. And I think when it, comes down in price, you need to get it. And the last shoe I've actually got as well here with me. And I don't think it's going to surprise many people. It's a Saucony Kinvara Pro. This has had some bad press because it's got the wrong name, right? Which I totally agree with. And you could argue it's heavy and whatnot. But it's a really good shoe if you're a stability shoe wearer kinda, or you need some form of guidance. That is a fantastic race day shoe for you. You've got a 3/4 length plate in it. You've got 3 different foams going on in there. It's comfortable, it's stable, and it will do the marathon distance easy. And I think that's probably one of the most underrated shoes of the year. Now that's going against the grain, okay? So again, hopefully you appreciate that. Right, so that's it. Let me know in the comments, what do you think is the most underrated, overrated shoe of the year? You might agree with me on some of these shoes. You might go, you know what, Fordy, you're talking out of your rear end. Under Armour shoes are awesome. That Cloud Boom Echo, whatever it's called, is amazing. Let me know in the comments. It's only opinion, people. It's only opinion. Right, that's it from me. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Be nice in the comments. Don't go too hard on me. It's not meant to be a controversial video at all. But let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you later.